welcome beautiful souls to another episode of the Spiritual Catalyst podcast, where we talk about all things weird and woo. I am your host, Sarah Lyons, the founder of the newearthschool.com.au, and today we have Dawn Shaw with us to talk about living in ease and flow with your spirit team. Dawn is a psychic medium, energy healer, and mentor, helping psychics, mediums, and healers develop their own unique abilities without frustration and doubt. So, welcome, Dawn.
Well, thank you for having me.
So good to have you here. Let's dive straight into it. Living in ease and flow with your spirit team. What does that mean to you?
It means, so when I found my spirit team, and I say spirit team because when I first started this journey, I thought it was just your spirit guides, to be honest, that would help you. I didn't realize it would be lots of different beings that kind of unlocked on the way. Mm-hmm. So it was like a little bit by little bit. So that means to me, when I found them or they found me, they in my personal life, they helped me with every aspect of my life. Like I couldn't believe it, because I was expecting them to just help me on my own journey with spirituality. But no, my whole personal life, the relationships I had with people, they were guiding me in every aspect. And then career, like where I should go, where to kind of avoid, and as I kept doing that, it took me down this path and ended up where I am now. And I have built my entire business by channeling my spirit team and them guiding me. There's been no strategy, Yeah. I mean, I've never had a business before, so it's literally purely spirit-led, and obviously my soul nudges. Yeah. So it's changed absolutely everything about my life. And also the guidance, it doesn't just come through for me, it comes through for my partner, my family, my children, and they're being guided as well, and it's absolutely amazing.
That's beautiful. I'd love to hear about some of the circumstances where your spirit team led you towards something or away from something, if anything big comes to mind.
Yeah. So we had, as you grow in a business, like I say, I was very new to the spiritual business world. Didn't really have a clue what I was doing. I kind of just allowed myself to be led and guided and soul nudged. And obviously you learn some of the biggies, really, don't you? And obviously being an open book and wearing my heart on my sleeve, I was very gullible. And, I thought everyone in the spiritual world was of light. And I ran into a couple of people who were, I thought I didn't use my discernment at that time. And I kind of followed their things, doing their meditations. And I kept feeling sick. I kept feeling off. I kept feeling like something's wrong. Yeah. And it actually led me to have an emotional breakdown. In the first year of my business, it was like a couple of months after opening my business. And as it turns out, as I was, they said to me, don't open up to spirit like you are, you do it this way. So they made me write down this technique, right? And I thought, okay, I'll give it a go. So halfway through, because I said, we need your spirit guides to stand out of the way now so these can come in. So that it was almost like,
wow.
I was like, really? I thought, really? Surely not, but so as I started to do halfway through that procedure, my spirit guide jumped in, and it was so huge because at that point I'd not seen my spirit guide. So it was like an urgency, he jumped in front of me and he was like, stop, do not go any further.
Oh my God.
And I was like,
whoa.
Yeah. So that kind of shocked me. And he kind of started to explain then that this is not of light, Dawn. You need to stop what you're doing, cleanse your energy. They took me through a cleansing, like a deep soul cleanse. Yeah. And that was that. But after that was released, I was pretty shocked because with me being gullible and new to the spiritual world, right, as in that way, I trusted this person.
Yeah.
And I'd put them on a pedestal. And I mean, I only met them through who was my mentor at the time. So it was really kind of shocking for everybody. And I ended up having an emotional breakdown. And I think mainly why I had that is because they was voice noting me, telling me that my partner was not of light and that I should step away from him. And it was almost like they were secluding me, like kept pulling me away from everyone. And I was like, oh, like, and I actually believed it. That's the worst thing. My mind, it was almost like they got into my head and I believed it. So my spirit guide jumped in, stopped that, told me to get rid of those people, stop it, and I cut them as soon. Now, at that time, bearing in mind, I was a couple of months in business, meaning just readings. I was just doing readings at the time. It was growing, right? It was growing quite quickly with just readings. And everyone was like, it's, wow, this is amazing. I can't believe how fast it's going. Even then. But when they started to gradually, over a period of like 6-7 weeks, kind of inboxing me all the time, voice noting me, getting in my head, my readings went, like my bookings stopped. Nothing were working. Everything fell out of alignment, right? That was the first signs, I believe, of my spirit team trying to help me. But obviously I didn't realize that at the time until they jumped in. But I think I had a breakdown because I was so gullible, and it scared me to death that, okay, not everyone is who they say they are in the spiritual world. And I have to really be careful. But I learned a valuable lesson from that my discernment went through the roof. So every person now that I come into contact with, I feel it. Is this opportunities, people, students, even, people, potential clients?
Yes.
I am feeling into that energy. And if they do not feel good, I'm not there. So that's one instance of what I would consider a bad thing at the time, but a blessing in disguise, because it helped me. It was a lesson, right? And I think something that I needed for my journey. But the good things, what they've guided me into is going into. So, there was a couple of book collab opportunities, but at the time, it's not that they were such good books. Do you know what I mean? They were good. I could see how amazing they was going to be, but my soul was like, not yet. No. Like it was like, and I felt like, no, at the time, that was my soul. And then there was this lady, this book publisher, and I'd seen her through another psychic medium, and I thought, I just was really drawn to her energy. But the book title was nothing like anything I thought I'd write, if you get what I mean. Right? So I jumped on this call with her, and she said, oh, why are you here? I said, I have no idea. I feel like my spirit guides have just chucked me in. And she was like, okay, well, if I read what the book is about, like the statement of the book, and then we'll go from there and see how you feel. And when she read the statement of the book, I just burst out crying. I was just so emotional. And I thought, okay, this is weird. And she said, I think for you, Dawn, it's because she's spiritual. Do you know what I mean? You can feel it. She's heart-led as well. And she said, I think it's a healing for you. It's releasing grief and trauma that you've had through writing this chapter in this book. And I think that's what it is for you more than anything else.
Yeah.
Right. And obviously the impact that you'll have on people will also be amazing, because people will be able to relate to your story. And I thought, oh my God, I never thought I'd actually write about this ever. It wasn't something, I thought it'd be about psychic medium, spiritual, all that stuff. But no, it's, it's called The Grief That Doesn't Count. And basically it's grief that nobody really recognizes, or it's brushed under the carpet. So it's not through like a passing of somebody. It's through things that we experience, whether it's in childhood or whatever point of life. So yeah, so that was a good thing that they pushed me towards, and everything good, the way that I run my business, the way that I work on my energy. I'd never worked with energy as in the sense of clearing energy and things like that. And they actually told me how to clear energy, how to move my energy through the shifts and the all this energy stuff going on, right? To keep moving it through, even if sometimes it doesn't feel so good. We've got to keep moving it through. So they actually give me all of that to do. You know, it wasn't like I had to go to someone and say, can you teach me how to do it? I did go on to, I was guided also, because I've never been interested in Reiki or anything like that, like a healing modality, never. Because I don't know why. And I'm like, well, maybe I'm just a psychic medium. Do you know what I mean? I'm not meant to do healing in that other way. And then until Chakra Ascension come out, and it was all about the chakras, which I absolutely love. It's the chakras within the beginning of my readings, when I was figuring out my style of readings, it was the chakras that connected me in, and I didn't even know that it was the chakras. I was just saying in this area, in this area, in this area, and I was working my way up, and I didn't even know chakras even existed, right? So obviously I learned about the chakras very quickly, but the chakra ascension healing is about the chakras. Okay, so rebalancing your own chakras and moving energy, and also ascension. And ascension, I don't know, I always get goosebumps with that, right? Because we're all growing, aren't we? We're all ascending in some way or another, and we're all and when you're tapped into that, you kind of know and understand it a little bit more. But then two things combined, working with the ascended master energy, is absolutely powerful. It's like Reiki on steroids. That's exactly what I call it, Reiki on steroids. And everybody that has done it and is doing it, they've been a Reiki practitioner or are, but they say, I understand what you're saying, Dawn. It's so powerful. I said, I know, it's really, really crazy. So, you know, just it's them, the good things are all them guiding me in ways for my business, but my personal life as well. You know, I had a relationship that wasn't very, it was quite rocky, quite negative. But I realize now the reason why that was happening is because we were triggering each other, right? Triggering each other what we needed healing. And we were both together, but went on our own healing spiritual journeys. And it's at that point before we broke off and went on our own healing journeys, my spirit guides and angels and all my spirit team was like, there's a reason why you're together. Okay, your souls are together for a reason. And I'm like, okay, what is it? Thinking twin flames, because you always hear about twin flames, and they're like, no, it is nothing like that. You are together because you are meant to work together in the future and help those that are awakening, and with the galactic energy as well. There's a connection through that. So I was like, okay. But they said it had to be like this for you. It had to be where you would have almost broken up with each other because it was so toxic.
Yeah.
To then go on your separate journeys but staying together. And what happened was we both went on our own healing journeys and exploration of spiritual journey, I call it. And then we ended up coming back together with a new understanding of each other. It was almost like we saw each other for the very first time.
Wow.
And not in the 3D. So the previous one was in the 3D.
Yeah.
And then we came back together, even though, you know, he's a truck driver, he works away all week. So I only see him on a weekend or if he's on holiday, that we came back together and we both just looked at each other, right? And this is the really weird thing. We were both sat, we've got a big corner couch, right? He was sat one end, I was sat the other. We looked at each other and it was like a whole time, everything just slowed down. So there was this tunnel from my mind's eye to his mind's eye. And it was like everything around us went blurry and very, very slow. And he started to see me differently. And I started to see him differently. It was almost like we were seeing each other in a different form. it was so bizarre. And we couldn't unlock that connection. It was like it finished when it finished. So not only did it felt like they helped me understand why our relationship was the way it was, why what we was going to be doing, coming back together, and I just went with the flow and I trusted them. Now, obviously, in the beginning, we have a trust issue with people. We have a trust issue with our team and actually believing that they are guiding you. And it's not until you get that validation that you can see they're helping you. And these, in the beginning, it's very small, like very small. Like if you suffer with confidence issues, myself, I was very low self-esteem, very low confidence, didn't believe in myself, absolutely zero, right? When I was channeling them and writing everything down every day, they were saying, you are confident, you are loved, your soul is this. And I thought, why do they keep telling me this when I don't believe it? I really don't believe it. And then it was like, you need your human to believe it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, so my human doesn't believe in it, believe that that's who I am. But they do, and my soul knows. And I had to figure out how to get my human and my soul on the same page. And by that, I thought, I need to do some techniques on my confidence, just standing in the mirror, telling myself I am confident, I am beautiful, I love myself. And I think the major thing of that, what they did for me, was showing me that and making me feel the love that I give to everyone else and didn't give to myself. And I stood in that mirror every day for about 2 months, telling myself I love myself. And I mean, really looking in my eyes, I love myself, I love myself. And one day I just woke up and I cried in the mirror because I genuinely loved myself and I could feel it in my heart and around me. And I just give myself a hug right at that time. And I thought, if anyone saw me now, they're going to think I'm crazy. But it was this feeling, I thought, this is the love that everyone else feels that I give away. And it was so important to feel that love for yourself. I can't even explain the love that I felt for myself. And at that moment, I realized that I am all those things that my spirit team said.
Mm.
And it shifted my energy and it shifted my confidence. If you'd have seen me back in 2020, I hid away. I wouldn't go on photographs. I wouldn't want to stand out. I'd hide away. And I definitely wouldn't put myself forward for anything, because my self-esteem, my confidence was so low. So they help you in so many ways. I could talk about them forever because they're absolutely amazing. And obviously, when I say spirit team, it's not just your spirit guides, not just your angels, they're ascended masters, there's galactic energy, dragon energy, fairy energy, there's so many.
Yeah.
And every time that I seem to go forward and surrender a bit more, because bearing in mind I'm still unraveling my own journey as I'm still growing. It never ends, does it?
Yeah.
Every time I start to unravel another piece of who I am at soul level, it's almost like another bit light being comes forward and and I learn more. And it's so magical. And I want to just shout it from the rooftops. I'm not even kidding. So there's not just when you're channeling in the beginning, you might think it's just your spirit guides until you gain that confidence and you know which guide it is coming through. Then you start to know the difference with your angels and the energy because of the way that either you write through them or the way that they speak to you. And, for me, my spirit guides are very what I'm going to be doing, guiding me in my everyday, my business, things like that. My angels for me might be different for other people, but for me, they are the ones that uplift me when I'm not feeling my best self. They'll encourage me, and they just the different angels swap in what I'm going through at that time, and they're the ones that seem to work on me. Like they're all about you and self and want to look after you. And your guys want to look after you, but they also want you to grow at the same time. And then my galactics, I work with the Andromedan energy and also, Actuarian. So the Actuarian guide is very much coming forward quite a lot recently, more so, but and giving me bits of why I'm here. So it's still drip feeding me. I'm not fully clear that what they've given me already is enough for me to start. And then, I'm sure it'll be revealed as we go along. But like I say, I'm still on my journey and unraveling the mysteries of the spirit team.
Yes. It's like an infinite journey, isn't there? And I really feel recently that it's almost like we're having another spiritual awakening all over again.
Yeah.
Like that's how I feel.
I
Like it's just I got to know more. I got to know
yeah.
more.
I believe, like you hear it so much, don't you, all over online, social media, that you only can have one spiritual awakening. I'm like, that is not true. Not for me
No.
anyway. I've had many spiritual awakenings, and I feel like it's like almost like a volcano of spiritual awakenings that I could be coming closer together. It's almost like we're shifting very, very quickly.
So quickly. Yes.
And it's like a volcano just erupting, and it's like and it's becoming closer together, I've noticed as
Mm.
well. But they're going to help you, like they'll nudge you out of, the spirit team, your guides, the people who look after you on the other side. Well, not other side. I don't like saying other side, but I'm so used to saying it. But they're with us. But um, they'll nudge you out of danger as well when your angels can really help you in that way. And I have been nudged out of danger. So walking down, I've chosen to. I was going to walk down through this park one evening. Now it wasn't particularly dark. It was just a summer's evening. It was quite late, and I had that overwhelming urge to just turn and walk the long way around. So I did. I listened. I mean, I don't know what would have happened if I didn't,
Yes.
but you can feel it. Like if you drive in a certain way, you can feel like sometimes you'll drive the same way all the time, and then you just get this urge to not drive that way.
Hmm.
And I mean, I always believe, when it's your time, it's your time.
Yeah.
But when it's not your time, you're going to be guided
Hmm.
away. And same with my partner, I've always asked for protection. You do, don't you? Like, just protect everyone in my family, and,
Yes.
and stuff like that. And even though I know that it is what it is,
Yes.
um,
I get
but my
that.
partner was going to work, and he was like building a relationship with his spirit team. And he seems to, when he's driving his truck, he seems to receive more because he's in that
Yeah.
like driving mode. You kind of receive a bit more. Well, he was driving to work in his car, and he got onto the bypass, and he just heard really loudly, "Stop, go home." Well, he pulls over, and he rings me, he goes, "Dawn, my spirit team have just told me to stop and go home." And I'm like, okay. I said, well, are you going to listen? Or you? And they kept saying, do you trust us? Do you trust us? And he was like, yes, I do trust you, but I actually need to go earn some money. I can't just not turn up to work. I'll get sacked. So he went to work, and that day he had an accident.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh
So
wow.
obviously he didn't know what was gonna happen.
Yeah.
But if he'd have listened, he would have kept away from that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But obviously, sometimes circumstances when you've got a boss and you can't just say, I'm not coming in because my spirit guys told me that I should go home. You know what I mean? So, but he does listen a lot more now. Like,
Yeah.
they made him walk around his truck and double do his checks on his vehicle, before he set off on a long journey around the UK. And they made him go around and double check because he'd missed a nail in the tire, which could be
Wow.
quite lethal on a heavy
Yeah.
Arctic truck going from London all the way up to Scotland. So they actually took him to it and led him to it.
Wow.
So,
That's
you know,
amazing.
I just find them, if you implement them into your life and surrender to them and allow them to guide you, there's
Mhm.
your opportunities change, your money situation changes, your relationships change, everything changes. And I feel so blessed that I've been able to go on this journey, you know. Beautiful, beautiful energy.
It is. It's such a beautiful energy. Thank you so much. And before we close it up today, I do just want to acknowledge what you said. It was one of the first things we were talking about, and you were talking about how your guides led you away from those whoever was leading that container for you.
Yeah,
So important. I'm so glad that you spoke about that because this happens so much. It's especially disheartening in the spiritual communities when you think you're being
yeah,
led by, a higher light being, because they say they're a higher
yes,
light being and they say they're all love. And then, but once you're in their world, it changes. And
yeah. And
very
it's
same
so
thing happened
quick.
to me. Yeah, yeah. And you just know something's off, but they're saying one thing and you think you should trust them, but it just feels off. So it's so important that
Yeah,
we really listen to that
yeah.
discernment.
And it was very strange at that point as well, with this couple. Um, a lot of my students, so students from like 2 years ago, say for instance, um, they all end up getting drawn to me. And I hadn't mentioned this couple because I didn't even want to speak about them. I didn't even want to mention the name because it just made me,
Yes.
it
Yeah.
made me feel like that. But these students all open up to me, like they came to me like, oh, on a psychic mediumship journey, but they end up saying, oh, have you heard of so and so? This has been happening, and I feel like this. And it was almost like they was making people stuck in this dark place. They was taking them to this dark place of where they say you need healing.
Mm,
They told them, you do not develop as a psychic, do not develop as a medium, do not develop as a healer. You're stuck. You need to be here. This is where you are, and this is what you've got to work through. Now, I understand we all have shadows. We all have this. If I just stayed in that point, I'd have been there forever. I know I would. I'd have never been able to move out of it.
yeah.
Um, but it was my spiritual journey and connected to my guys that actually helped me unravel my
Yeah.
stuff and like my shadow and embrace the shadow and embrace the light together and understand who I was and what healing I needed to do. They even sent me into past lives, other timelines. I don't really believe in past lives, but it's a saying, isn't it?
Yeah.
But another timeline of mine and forward and backwards, as we would say as humans, but all happening at the same time. But I just believe they keep people stuck in that space. But they all came to me and they opened up to me. And it
Yeah.
was so weird because I'm like, how many other people are feeling like this? I
Yeah.
thought it was just me.
Yeah.
And I didn't dare tell anyone
Yes.
because I feared that something was going to happen, like bad happened to me. I feared like people
Yeah.
wouldn't believe me.
Yes.
But then
So
other people started to open up and they started to come to me. And there was about 6, 7 students who had been through the same thing as me
hmm
with that couple. And I thought, wow, this is crazy. But I understand, like I get it, totally get it. And I think you just got to remember that not everyone is who they're seeing, but use your discernment and allow your spirit team to guide you away and
Oh,
do what's right for you.
yeah, 100%. If it feels off, listen to that. Such a valuable note to end on.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for coming on to
You're
the
welcome.
show. And for our listeners that would love to learn more about what you do and how to live in ease and flow with their spirit team, where can they find you?
You can find me on my profile. You're welcome to follow me, Dawn SH. And you can come into my group, it's Spirit Talks.
Beautiful.
And this is like a development group for anyone, psychic mediums, healers, tarot readers, oracle readers, mystical, all things mystical. And it's not like your normal just quotes and things like that. This is actually doing the work that's going to
Mm,
help you shift. And I do a lot of work in my spare time in there to help people with various different things. So if it does interest you, then yeah, come and join our community. It's beautiful.
beautiful. Awesome. And I'll make sure we pop those links in the episode details. Thank you so
Thank
much
you.
again. Thank you to our beautiful listeners. If you enjoyed today's episode, please consider leaving us a review and we will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.